Are you ready for another episode of On Top and Hot? I know I am. I'm John Zidar. Today is Wednesday. It is March 5th. And we're going to do what I like to do. We're going to talk about hot penny stocks. I'm a day trader, and I primarily trade stocks under $5. And the great thing about that is you can find them everywhere. It's only about the price, not their location. So it doesn't matter if they're on the New York Stock Exchange or the OTC. They're a penny stock. And I'm always looking for one that has heat, that has potential to make us some money. And I've got one for us today. This is GXAI AI, ticker GXAI. Now, if you know me, you know how I found it. When I go looking for hot penny stocks to share with you, I want one that I believe is going to move the next day. So I go looking at the charts first. I want a hot chart with a bullish pattern on it. And we've got one, but I want to make this perfectly clear. She is setting up for my 200 squeeze. She is not there yet. And I did that on purpose because the last couple of weeks I have found stocks that were ready to break out. I find them around 2 in the afternoon, do my due diligence so I'm ready to make this video by 4 in the afternoon. Well, by 5 in the afternoon, they're running. After market, they're taking off, and there's not a whole lot left over for us. So today I found one that is getting onto the launch pad. It's not there yet. They're still moving the rocket down the road, but it's getting to the launch pad. So I think we got plenty of time. Now, I don't mean days. I still think this is going to move tomorrow, so don't go nowhere. So GXAI, she is a company out of New Jersey. She finished the day at $1.30. She was up over 17%. She is a hot penny stock on the major exchange, the NASDAQ. That comes with benefits, folks, compared to those OTC penny stocks. Transactions are free on the major exchange. You get to trade pre-market, after-market. There's a lot more money and a lot more volume up there, and there's a lot more rules, and that's a good thing. That keeps our investments safe. So what is GXAI all about? Well, I am going to bypass this description because it's pretty generic and really doesn't say a lot. So we're going to dive into the most recent piece of news, and after I read the description, we're going to go right into the news because it actually gives us more description than we actually get in the description. Now, they do have a nice website, but there's not a lot of information, and I'm actually going to share most of that information with you in pictures right here. GXAI. GXAI AI isn't just developing applications, it's redefining the human-AI relationship. Our offerings span health and wellness, as well as gaming applications. We're committed to addressing health, longevity, and entertainment through AI solutions. So that's their two focuses, gaming and health and wellness. And they got 3 divisions that they're working with to do this. Now, this is the most recent piece of news. This is the catalyst right now, and I'm going to back up and show you the other news as well. But this gives us some more insight to what the company's about. GXAI, a company developing artificial intelligence applications across various sectors, today announced that the company has acquired more AI technology to bolster its content creation services. They have been acquiring AI applications and companies over the last 6 to 12 months. We're going to see a few of them in the news, but there's even more behind those. They tell us here this acquisition immediately expands the capabilities of GXAI's labs and enhances the company's broader AI development initiatives, setting the stage for growth. This strategic addition equips GXAI with AI solutions, including advanced text-to-speech, high-quality image generation, dynamic video assembly, instant narration, enhanced styling, and script automation, unlocking unprecedented possibilities for both users and enterprises. And that's just this AI application. We're not going to go through it all, but when you look at all the different companies and dive into what each one is doing, basically they're covering all the bases, from imagery, videos, creating avatars. I mean, I just can't even cover everything that they've got. They've got a lot of applications, and they are focused on AI, health and wellness, and gaming. This acquisition immediately strengthens our AI ecosystem. By integrating this technology, we are supercharging our product and capabilities and accelerating the future of AI-powered content creation, which is what this is all about. It's giving creators access to AI tools to do their work much faster, much easier, and probably much better. So let's dive on over to the news. I've got news going back here to mid-December. We've got a lot of different companies that they have been acquiring, a lot of different applications. The company unveils visual editor for Godot gaming engine. They expand their capabilities with Recraft AI integration. Then we have 2 registered direct offerings here, and I'm going to touch on to those here in just a minute. Then they expand their AI capabilities for 3D images with Meshi 4. Then they reincorporated into the state of Nevada. I'm sure they've got a good reason for that. It's not a great big deal, but they're just letting us know. And then, of course, the most recent news, which I just read you. Now, I want to dive into these 2 registered direct offerings, which they had in December. One was for $5 million, one was for $4 million. So they got $9 million in their pockets to work with right now. What I wanted to show you was, first off, how many shares. We have 1.3 million shares that were in this offering, and they sold those shares at the market price at the time. At the time, this thing was in a surge. It was going from like $1.20 up to $7.50, somewhere in there. It was running for 6 days strong, and they were doing public offerings during that surge. That's when you see offerings come out. When the stocks get in attention and running, why not throw some extra shares out there? Easy to slip them in. So they slipped in 1.3 million at $3 a share. They also sold warrants, same amount, 1.3 million. These are exercisable at $3. Now warrants, these are coupons that are going to allow you to buy shares at a guaranteed price for the next 3 to 5 years. This price is $3. Now right now the stock is down, but it was up just last week or 2 weeks ago. 3 years down the road, it could be $30. You could buy a share for $3 for every warrant you have. That's how Warren Beatty makes up Warren Buffett makes his money with warrants. You get a lot of back-end profits with warrants. But every time a warrant is exercised, it creates a new share. So in the front door, we're getting 1.3 million extra shares thrown onto the float right now. Down the road, whenever, we're going to have another 1.3 million come into play. They also had another one, which was for 1.4 million shares. These are at $3.45. Again, they had the same amount of warrants, 1.4 million. The warrants are exercisable at $3.32. So we've got like 2.7 million more shares in the front door that we have to add to the float that will be there right now. And there are a potential 2.7 million that can be added somewhere down the road. You never know when that could happen. So let us go take a look now at the relative volume for Gaxos. What was it today? It was hot. I went over to Yahoo Finance to look at the volume every day. You can see every single day's volume as far back as the company's been on the stock market. And today was a very, very strong day. All the days before were like this: 300, 400, 700,000, and then boom! Today we're up to 5.8 million. Share structure for Gaxo. They tell us here as of November 2024, they had those offerings in December of 2024, another 2.7 million. So we've got to add that to here. That's going to give us 4, 5, 6, is that? Yeah, 6.5 million, right? 5.5 million. So we got 5.5 million. I'm not going to cry about that, folks. The company got $9 million, and we still got a low float. Not that I know what the float is. That's the outstanding share count. The insiders are going to own something. Subtract that from the outstanding, that'll give us our float. So we're going to have something less than 5.5 million, which is an outstanding low float. The company sold just a little over 5 million shares today. That basically means every share sold today. If they sell 10 million tomorrow, that means every share has to sell twice, and that can help the price to rise because of supply and demand. Market cap for the company, we're currently at 3.1 million. Financials. Are they making money? We got nothing on the annual. Oh, we got some money in September of 2024. We've got $2,000. It's not $2. You got to add 3 zeros to any of the numbers on any of these charts. Looking at the balance sheet for the company, We've got 5.2 million in the bank. That's what I call the cash and cash equivalents. Total assets for the company were at 7.1 million. Total liabilities, not even a half a million, 400,000. So we are holding stockholder equity of $6.7 million in this company. They've got a little bit of revenues, a little bit of profit, but I'm sure something is happening right now, folks. So we do have a financial coming out. That'll be interesting to look at, but that's got nothing to do with the stock running tomorrow. So don't you worry none about that. And let's take a look at those disclosures. Actually, we're not. There are a lot of disclosures here to consider. There are a couple SC 13Gs here. These are new investors, big investors. They buy so many shares, they own a percentage of the company, they become an insider. They're a partner with the insiders now. We got a couple of those here. They're all for about 5%. We've got a bunch of filings here for the shares they put on the market. Couple of 8Ks. I didn't see any bad news and I didn't see anything super great. So there wasn't really anything here I wanted to share with you outside of what I have. The company's dealing with AI. They're dealing with creators like Triller. Triller is working with music and AI. This is working with all the imagery and gaming and health and wellness. They've got multiple products here in two completely different sectors that they are now working with. What we need to see are contracts coming in. We need to see revenue start coming in. But they've got all the pieces, so they say. And what I'm looking for is for the run tomorrow. The run tomorrow and maybe the next day. The volume was very high today. We have catalysts and we have a hot chart. But you don't have to take my word for it. Let's go look at it. It's charting time. My favorite part of due diligence. We're over here at my free trading platform, Think or Swim. You can only get it from Schwab. We're looking at ticker GXAI-Gaxos AI. Got her opened up to a 6-month, 4-hour view. A lot of information here. First off, we had a downtrend. You can see our 200 was falling, but look at these huge jumps with that low float. Huge jumps, but it was too early to break out, so she was always going to come back down. She came down to this low down here of $1.01, which is what she bounced off of here just a couple days ago. She went sideways off of that low, and we had a big rip in December when they put all those shares out for public offering. We were at $1.20 and went up to $7.50 in 6 days. Folks, that's 600% run there. She came back down, bounced around for a while, and fell all the way back down to this dollar. And right now, she is starting to climb. Now, as I said, I was looking for a stock that was getting ready to be set up. Not be set up. And that's what we got right now on the 4-hour chart. I like to have it set up on the 4-hour chart. But what we've got here, we have a 200 MA falling. We have a 200 haul at the bottom. It is also falling. We need that to come up. But the price is in the middle between the two. That's a 200 squeeze. When the price, right where it's at now, gets on top of the 50, and the 200 haul on the bottom turns up, then you've got power. You have got the rocket off the road, on the launch pad, smoke billowing on the sides. This is getting into position right now. As you can see, we had lots of volume today compared to the days before. Our oscillators, our PPO, we've got a crossover just about ready to happen there. Our ADX, which is my favorite oscillator. You get 3 lines on here. The green one is your uptrend. The red one is your downtrend. And the yellow line tells you the strength of whichever trend you're looking at. The trend, which is at the top of the graph, over top of the other one, is your dominant trend. Our green is over the red. That means we have an uptrend going on right now. The yellow line is telling us how strong it is. We're down here at about 30%. It can go up to 100, and it is climbing right now. Our MACD is definitely climbing. Whoa, look at that surge. Just about ready to cross the signal line, and look at these big green bars all accumulating. We did have a pullback on our RSI. She kicked up here from 39 up to 62, and she's pulled back to 57. But everything is looking juicy to me. But it's not as hot as the 1-hour chart. 1-hour chart, we've got a downtrend. We had a big jump here. She came back down to a flat 200. At least as close to flat as you could get, but she has just a wee bit of dip on it, and the price felt it. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Oops, she's falling. Ah, boom, all the way down here to this low. She's bounced off of that, and right now we have a atypical breakout, a 200 squeeze happening on the 1 hour chart. There's your 200 MA at the top. There's your 200 Hall at the bottom. Mine changes colors when it changes direction. So I know when it happens because the price changes abruptly when the 200 Hall changes. And right here, folks, there is a ton of stuff going on, and I want to share it all with you. Okay, you see the 200 squeeze, 200 at the top, 200 at the bottom, both of them going towards each other, squeezing the price, which was on the 50. When did she bounce? She bounced right here when she got on the 50 and just as it was about to turn up. But there are other signals staring us in the face right there. First off, we have what I like to call a directional intentional spike. Horrible name, I know. It's this guy here. Actually, it's these two bars. When I see a jump from wherever she's at, go all the way up to and through the 200, but only the wick. The solid bar stays under the 200 and the wick goes way up over the 200. The next bar, if it does not come down any lower than this bar, I am taking that as a signal that she's going to run. But then we have another one right behind that, which is even stronger. This red one right here, folks. This is a dynamic signal that tells me she is going to run hard. Let me tell you exactly what I see. Solid bar up over the 9-day, which is where the price is sitting, right? The price is on the 9-day floating. This solid bar is above it. It can be on it or above it. Then it spits out a wick down. I want this wick to go through as many MAs as possible. It is on the 9. It went through the 50. It went through the 20. It went through 2 MAs. To me, this is like drilling a hole in the ground, going deep into the ground, going through the dirt, going down into the clay, maybe down into the sediment. The reason you put in a deep hole in the ground is for a deep foundation, because you're going to build a skyscraper way up high. So the more MAs I see this wick go through, the higher the price is going to go. So I've already been told she's looking for a breakout. When is that going to happen? When the 200 MA goes flat. This is telling me when the 200 MA goes flat, this price is going to try to break out. This bar with that wick going through all these MAs tells me when it breaks out, it's going to break out hard. We have already had a bounce off of the 50, off of my 2 signals, and we have a upturned 200 Hall, and she is ripping right now, folks. She has gone to the 200. She's pulled back after hitting it a couple times. It isn't flat yet. It's almost there, but not flat. Watch, folks, when that goes flat, see if this thing doesn't take off. That is going to be the same time that the price is getting up on the 50 on the 4 hour, and the 200 there is going flat. We're going to see a power boost here. Our oscillators down below. Our PPO is climbing. Our MACD is climbing, but it's cooling off a wee bit. Our RSI was in the overbought. It's come down. It's down there at about 62, still hot. And our ADX is looking very good. Our dominant trend is an uptrend with lots of strength. Now we got a red bar sitting there, don't we? So it looks like it's coming down. No, it doesn't. It's tagging that 9-day to get a bounce, to get a push off like a kangaroo. And this tells me it's got a lot of strength behind that push. So I'm ready for a push off here. Our MACD is still climbing, and our RSI, like I said, is at 64. 5-day, 15-minute last chart we're looking at. We have a change of trend. Our 200 was falling. She banged her head on it here, dropped down to this low of $1.04, came up and right in this region. Right here, folks, you can see she's going flat, and this is when she's making her move. This is when your breakouts happen on a flat 200. She ripped here from $1.09 up to $1.55, fell back to the dynamic duo, the 50-day and the 200 Hall. This is a very strong setup, and we see it a lot when the stock is climbing, and the price will normally fall through the 20 to get to these stronger MAs. That's exactly what happened here. She came down and bounced off of these strong MAs, got back up on the 20 and zoomed away. And she's floating on her 9-day with some volatility. She's come down to the 20. Chances are she's going to break that 20. She's going to come down to the dynamic duo here. This is the setup. You will see a climb. You will see it pull back to the 20 and think it's going to bounce there. 8 out of 10 don't. They don't. They break the 20 and they come down to this dynamic duo. On your chart, you've probably only got the 50. Put that 200 haul in there and you'll see they're normally always together on an up climb, and that's where the price hits and bounces. So I'm looking for a bounce at around 125, 128, somewhere in there, and then a continuation. Our oscillators are a bit weak right now. Our PPO is falling. Our MACD is falling. Our RSI is actually planed out. She's stopped falling as far as the RSI says. And our ADX, we had a change over here, but you could see she was falling. So we are waiting to see what happens. Everything is weak. Everything is in a weak zone right now, so we're not sure where it's going. But me, between the 4-hour chart and the 1-hour chart, this thing is going, folks. I am very confident, but that's just my opinion. I'm not licensed. I don't know anything for fact. I don't have AI helping me. So please, do your own due diligence. I can't tell you to do anything, but put it on your watch list. If you see volume come into this tomorrow, I told you so. Appreciate your time, folks. Remember, the more you know, the more you're going to grow. See you, folks.